Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Show with your host, Jeff Lopes.
We're live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on today, Damien Ryder. What is up, brother?
Oh, everything, man. How you going? Thanks for having me on the show.
This is going to be fun today. So I just found Damien through social media. Then you start reading one thing after another. You're like, this guy's insanely extreme, the things he does. How old are you, first off?
46.
So you're 78, baby. 77, 76, 76.
75.
75. Okay. I'm 45. So you're just, when's your birthday? Coming up soon?
Yeah, 24th September.
Okay, very, 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 very cool. So have you always lived in Australia?
No, I've kind of lived everywhere, but I mean, Australia's my home for sure, and I've lived most of Australia, like definitely around the East Coast and South Coast of Australia. But, I spent a bit of time over in Asia, spent time in US, in Mexico as well. But, and I was kind of stuck over there for, I guess, the last 3 years, couldn't even really get home, but, just made the most of it, flown between the US and Mexico, Tulum mainly. And now I'm back home, back on the Gold Coast, on the East Coast of Australia, and loving it.
Have things gone back to quote unquote normal there? Because, you guys are very similar to us in Toronto, Canada, man. The lockdowns and everything has been insane. Are things kind of normalized?
Yeah, pretty much. For the most part, it was fairly normal. Like, it's a bit different where I live. Like, I live on my street I live on is called Boundary Street. So I'm on there's one state. I'm on one state, and then across the road is another state.
Oh,
so
wow.
Where I live, they had like the full barricade going down the middle of the street. That it was a $4,000 fine just to walk across the road, basically, because you're going to another state and you weren't allowed to come back. So I got back here in November last year, and it was like still up and still everything going on. I was like, this is freaking weird. And people were like, yeah, you can't go over there, man. You can't go across the road and get a coffee and come back. I'm like, I'm walking across the road. Like, I don't see this imaginary border thing going up. And, so that was kind of a little bit weird. But I think, for the most part, like when I was in the US and I was looking back here, it looked super extreme. And then when I was back here looking back in the US from my social media and everything, I'm going, shit, that seems extreme there. But because I was there, I was just walking around LA and no one had masks like at the time that I was there, and it seemed to be all pretty cool. But here everyone's like, how could you deal with it there? It was crazy. And then people in the US are like, how can you go back to Australia? It's crazy. It's going on. Like, unless you live right on the border.
It's all about perspective too, right?
Pretty much, yeah. There was some crazy times going on for sure. How much does it really affect your life? It's up to you how much you want it to affect it. Really isn't.
Yeah. Over the last 2 years, our lockdowns, our mandates were pretty severe here. But I just kept exactly what you said, just kept doing what you got to do. They were like, don't visit family. I'm like, I still saw my family. I still saw my parents. You just do what you got to do, right? You just do what you have to do to survive. So, Damien, let's talk about you growing up. Like, when did you start playing around or exploring extreme sports and stuff like that? What was your first, I guess, interaction with extreme sports?
I guess when I was about 7, picked up a skateboard, and that kind of kicked off everything, really. Sports have always played a massive part of my life from the age of 2. I've just gone into it out of, sort of different circumstances, I guess, and became something that I always turned to. And then, picking up a skateboard, that was just, that was a gift, given to me, of being able to skate all day and keep out of the house and go and explore everywhere, and that, really gave me that thirst for adventure of how I am in life, and, I guess that's how I started changing laws and rules to kind of guidelines to suit what I want to do, because there were some car parks that, you couldn't go into, but you could at the same time. So it was, luck of the draw if security were going to chase you out or not, sort of thing. So, that's kind of just how we grew up. And it wasn't like we were like rat bags or anything like that, trying to cause trouble. But, we're just adventurers, basically. We're just going to explore what was going on. And, we'd go and skate a certain place until we were told, we're getting kicked out. You know what I mean? And until then, we're able to skate it, So So it was good. And I just got to kind of kept following on that sort of sense. And then from there, my 12th birthday, I got a surfboard, and I started surfing. And, you know, down south of Australia, it's, you know, you only surf on the full stormy. So it's, you know, the 60 mile an hour winds that are bringing up a little bit of chop on the ocean, that, you know, you jump off the local pier and jump in the water, and freezing cold water, and you know, you start surfing. So, you know, they were definitely, you know, the main kickoff for me, and then it led into snowboarding. So, you know, the start of my life was pretty much just board sports, you know, and that kind of just led for everything else, you know. And I love it as well, like those sports in themselves, like, because, you know, it's such a traveling sport as well, you know, like you want to surf new destinations, new location, new surf spots, and you meet new crew who are going off somewhere else. And the same as with snowboarding as well, you know, you want to go on.
Where'd you do your main snowboarding?
So I just started like in Australia, but I spent a lot of time in the French Alps, in Chamonix, Maribel, Courchevel, up in Flan, went across to Italy for a little bit. So I did a full season over there, and so it was pretty epic. You know, it was a bit hard to come back to Australia.
Did you ever go to the route like professionally, trying to make it professionally in any of those sports?
I mean, I was like when I was a skateboarder, you know, as a kid, but, you know, back in those days, we're talking like early 80s sort of thing, you know, like, you know, I was like 10-year-old kid or something, you know, win a contest and I'd get given a beer and a sticker, you know, like, you know, that was it, you know, there was no money, there was no nothing in it sort of thing at that time, you know, you couldn't expect too much out of it, you know, if your local skate shop gave you a sticker, you're like, oh yeah, I'm sponsored, you know, this is cool. So, I mean, it was like I'd always wanted to, but it was funny, you know, like even these boards that are behind me, all the Bones Brigade boards and power boards and stuff, you know, like these are the guys that, you know, grew up watching on Search for Animal Chin and all that sort of stuff, and always wanted to go to the factory. And it wasn't until like 30 years later when I skated these exact boards across America on Route 66 that beforehand, like I had all the boards, but they weren't all OG. And then, so I went into PAL in Santa Barbara there, and I told them, I said, look, I've got a Steve Caballero, but it's not OG and the other ones are. And they're like, oh, we'll give you one, you know, so the orange board's like, that's a full OG from 1985 board, you know, that they hooked me up with. So, you know, I'd kind of waited like 30 years to go into the factory and feel like I'm sponsored by these dudes who I love, you know. So that was pretty cool. And all the kids that I skated with when I was 9 years old, obviously they'd seen on social media as well that I'm in the factory, and they're just blowing up about it, going, how awesome is it? You know, like it's taking us so long. So, you know, it's something I always wanted to do. And, you know, I finally got to be sponsored by, you know, the boards I love, you know, grew up.
Yeah. When did that whole, I guess that your mindset to do that actual Route 66, how did that all come together? Like, was that something you had planned for a while? Like, how did that all start? Is that in the record books?
Nah, no, I don't think it's in the record books. I mean, it's in like the first person to ever skate Route 66 and stuff like that. But for me, it was just a progression. So it started off where I am now on the Gold Coast, and January 3rd, 2015, I walked down to my local beach and put a paddleboard in the water, and I paddled for 500 miles. So 17 days in the ocean. And then after that, you know, and I sort of...
So, okay, let's go back there. So what starts that mind process? Like, did you have that all planned with social media? Like, where was that mindset with 2005, 15? So you're looking at... So social media was already pretty, it wasn't crazy it is now, but it was starting to get a little up there. Like, was there a pre-plan to build your brand? Like, what was the mindset when you did that? Was it just personal? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was kind of 50-50, you know, like personal for me and to share with other people as well. Like, I did a lot of child abuse and stuff as a kid, and, you know, spent a lot of time going up and down trying to work it out, and you know, suffered PTSD and everything from it. And, you know, tried to take my life a few times just because I was stuck in this like demon headspace and couldn't really get out of it. Even though I was, you know, still doing essentially what I wanted to do in life, I was just having these spirals out of control, and kind of just got to a point where I just went, hey, look, you know, it's time for me to stop listening to all these people of how I should be healing myself And let's just go back to doing it my way, so, I went back, had a successful business at the time, and I pretty much just dropped everything. And I said, right, I'm just going to go back to who I am. I'm a natural athlete, and this is what I'm going to do. And list of anything that I need, sold my car. If I need to get anywhere, I just run. I just trained my ass off and just become the strongest version of myself that I could. And I set myself this challenge to, walk down the local beach, which is just across the road here, and plonk the board in the water and start paddling, and it was something that no one else had ever done before of that distance. No one ever done it, at least solo and unsupported as well.
Okay, the waters there, are they not shark infested?
Yeah, they're sharks. Yeah. So the whole way along, and it was funny because this is kick off, my mates are sending me these news articles going, all these things, it was front page of all the newspapers that, it's the most shark infested summer that Australia.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's all these attacks and everything going on, right where I'm paddling, And they're sending me, there's an attack that just happened, paddling there tomorrow, and all this sort of stuff, all these big.
Did you have a video crew or a camera crew or anybody with you?
No, I just had a GoPro on my board and just a little handheld, and that was it.
That's all, huh? Let's go. I love it. I love it.
It was my hand, so when I did see sharks, or they were circling me or knocking me off the board or something like that, I'd have to use my hands to scoop in the water. So my head would just be going, don't eat my hands, don't eat my hands, don't eat my hands the whole time, until I was just keep going. All right, he's gone somewhere else.
Keep swimming, Johnny. Keep swimming. Oh, that's hilarious.
So it was quite an experience, and definitely after, day 5, I said at the start, it's 50-50.
How did you prepare food? Did you just have those food packs? You're on the water for 5 days, obviously nutrition, you're exerting so much energy, the heat, you're probably sweating your rear off. How did you prepare yourself? Even hydration, food, all that stuff?
So 17 days. So what I did is I sent the next day's rations that I would carry on my board to different surf clubs along the way.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
So I kind of just mud mapped out. I went, okay, well, I figure the first 2 days I'll have a bit of energy. The next day I might do a little bit less. This one, there isn't a miles. So I kind of just cruised along with that and just rang them up and said, hey, I'm doing this paddle down. I'm going to send you some stuff,
Yeah.
And that was the best as well, because obviously surf clubs are right on the beach. Most of them, they were cool to put me up, or if they didn't have a place for me to sleep in their surf club, they would usually pick me up and take me home, give me a home cooked meal sort of thing, So
very, very community oriented, huh?
Yeah. So, it was super cool. And they were really supportive of it, and it was, I was super grateful with that. So that's just how I went along, and what started off as, something that I could tell people, hey, jump in the water, go for a swim, go for a surf. The ocean's healing. It's cool, and raise a bit of awareness about child abuse. But after day 4, it flipped around, I was still doing the same thing, but I realized it just became so much bigger than me and so much bigger than the event itself. The people that were starting to live vicariously through this challenge that I was doing and sharing with people on social media when I got in at night or before I was about to take off, I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And it wasn't something I never do any of my events to raise my profile or get numbers or likes or anything like that. I kind of just do what I do. And, I was on a different purpose. And especially after day 5, I knew so much had changed within me from it, so I'm spending 15 hours kept on paddling through, and I started to learn more and more each day until I got down to my destination. My life just completely changed. I thought, I can't go back to my normal life. This is what I do now, but how do I bottle what just happened to me in the ocean? How do I share this? But at the same time, I didn't want to just come out and say, hey, all this cool shit's just happened to me.
Yeah. And
let me tell you all about it, because I'd had good times and bad times in my life. So it was I thought the next step is to really test it, So I did this challenge around Thailand that was either going to be something absolutely incredible or it was going to break me. And it ended up breaking me, 3 miles before I was supposed to finish this 3-day challenge. I was broken, I couldn't move. I was just standing on the sidewalk. And
this is a different challenge.
Different challenge, yes. I paddled around Phuket Island in Thailand, then got off and I ran around it. So it was about 85 miles sort of run after I'd just been paddling for 24 hours, basically. And so my body just completely shut down. I'd overheated the whole 120 degrees and 98 humidity sort of thing there, so it was super hot. I was sunstroke and everything and shut down. But a good thing about it was nothing negative come up from my past, no matter how much pain my body was in, like I didn't think negative about it at all, even that I hadn't.
Why do you think that occurred? Is just your mind was so occupied with what you were trying to focus on, or like what was
just left in the ocean, and that was the whole thing.
That was your Zen moment, like almost like just your spot of peace.
Yeah, like it was. Obviously, there's a lot of time to talk to yourself in the ocean when you're paddling by yourself for 15 hours a day, so only blue water and blue sky. So yeah, there was a lot of conversations that were going on and just dissecting everything in my life, dissecting every sort of conversation and situation and just having a good look at it, and just come to a lot of realizations and become grateful for all the struggles that I'd had in my life, and, just knowing that I can't change what happened in my past and all that sort of stuff, just that acknowledgement of it and who I am and be proud of who I am, but also just allowing all those emotional blockages just to come out, without any vice to escape it. I couldn't turn to anyone. I couldn't go and train. I couldn't go and drink beer. I couldn't drink all these other vices I'd had all my life. Yeah. They just had to keep coming up and up and up and up, and let them come out. But at the same time, while they're coming out, new and amazing experiences are coming in. I'm seeing the coast in a completely different way. I'm looking at these beautiful waves. I'm seeing these beaches that, maybe only a handful of people have ever seen in their life, from paddling past them and no access by cars or anything like that to them. So there were so many incredible things to be thankful for where I'd been in life to where I was now, and something I was enjoying right now, something I was proud of and something no one else in the world had done before, So yeah, like there was a lot of incredible moments out there, but, and I just wanted to learn that. So I did that challenge around Thailand, and then I thought, all right, well, since I've ran around an island, I'm going to, my legs are a little bit stronger than they were. And because I'd always skated most of my life and, muscle cars and the whole nostalgia of Route 66, I was kind of like, I was always destined to skate Route 66. And that's what I did. I set myself a challenge just to skate from point A to point B. It was long point A to point B, 2,500 miles. But, I just wanted to really just hone in of what happened to me in the ocean and how I healed myself and how can I simplify that to give to other people, basically. So that's just how my journey continued on, So I just got a thirst for doing things that no one else had done before, and not in an ego sense, but I just love it that if no one else has done it before, then I don't even know it's possible.
So I was about to actually say that. I mean, there's always a first. There's always somebody that sets a new standard, right? And everything you said, there's going to be somebody who's going to set new standards above you in the future. This is the way the world is and how we evolve. But I love there's two things you keep talking about, and a lot of people go their entire life and never realize it is how to really focus on the perspective of everything and how to almost reframe everything. And I always talk about, I mean, even it's not like anything. I always say, even when you're looking at your kids or your children, it's not like I got to go pick them up at school. I get to pick them up at school. Like, how do you reframe stuff? And I think all that time you had with yourself, you really focused on reframing in a perspective of everything. And a lot of people go their whole entire life and never understand that or ever have that moment of aha to really, really focus on that. So it's pretty cool that you did that, right? How mentally, how challenging is it being on the water like that long? Like, did you have to fight with yourself, like in your mind, or were you just at peace at that point?
Nah, man, there was like, for the first four days, it was like there was a lot that was going on. Like,
Yeah.
my body was in so much pain, not just from the physical pain, because I trained up for it, but just the emotional pain was bringing new, like, historical pain up, and all thoughts and everything have been, being beaten, thrown against walls, all that sort of stuff. All those thoughts, I was carrying so much in my body and in my shoulders and everything, So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot that was going on that I was dealing with. Plus, the isolation. Plus, I'd never done a marathon or anything in my life. Like, this is going straight into my first event of doing this ever. Never.
And just a little one too. 85 clicks, just a little one, right?
Just like, it was like hectic, but at the same time, I was kind of, like we spoke about before, I was always an endurance athlete, because I would stay out of the home skating for 15 hours, 18 hours a day, every day anyway. So I was always building up. I didn't know as a kid I was going to do this paddle, but at the same time, I was always preparing myself for it without even knowing, So I always had that within me to keep going. But once I'd had that release, everything changed. Once it became so much more than me, it was about more so for other people, and just that gratitude of where I was at that time. It completely changed, and the pain changed in my shoulders and back, and I was just able to enjoy the rest of the the rest of the 13 days ahead of me after that. So the 17 days is, it's a lot. It's a lot to be in the ocean by yourself. Like, I love the ocean. I surf. I'd never paddleboarded before.
Yeah.
So
you never had paddleboarded before?
Nah, not before I started training for it. Like,
it's a lot. I mean, you're obviously you're obviously in great shape. I mean, that's just 17. That's a lot of core, man. That is a lot of core for 17 days.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, my knee
talk about six pack when you're done, huh?
Yeah, I was dry. It was funny. I had to do this. I got selected to do like a men's magazine thing. And there was some other guys there, and they were talking about, I've been dieting for 6 months and I've been doing this. And they're like, shit, you're ripped. Like, what did you do? And I went, I just paddled for 17 days.
Man, the men's health article. That's your new fitness tip, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Just jump in the water for 17 days. You'd be right.
So
so everything just progressed from there. I just got a thirst for wanting to learn more, and just finding more answers, to different questions that I had and other people had, and really.
Could I dive into something quickly? Like, you're obviously, you brought it up a few times. I'm assuming the abuse at home was with your father when you grew up.
My mother's partner.
Okay. When did that? How long did that progress for? Then when did you kind of push away from that, or were able to escape that? Like, at what age?
From the age of 6 to about 10. It was.
So it's good 4 years of that, huh?
Yeah, good 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. Like, every second night, it's like it was hectic. I mean, it was a hectic, childhood. Like,
no child should be going through that, right? Yeah.
Nah, no one should. No one should at all. But it's not just that time as well. It's just that I carried that with me as long.
Of course.
In that situation, and carried it with me for so long, just because I didn't have the tools. I didn't understand how to get past it. And then the generic bullshit I was getting told by therapists, and that just, it wasn't working. That didn't come from that place and everything. So, I mean, for me, that's pretty much what my last 8 years have been about. It's like, or if you're not going to go out and find the answers, you're just going to come up with generic answers that are written in a book.
You're literally just you're always shoving it down, right? You're always pushing it away, pushing it in, right? And eventually it does catch up. So, I mean, I'm glad you were able to understand that what you're facing and come to a conclusion of how to better yourself and how to get yourself in a better mental space, right? So after Route 60, sorry?
I mean, I had to, because I just couldn't keep living like that. I knew I had so much more worth in me. I knew I could do so much more if I just broke down these freaking boundaries that were just like suffocating me. Just to go, shit, here we go. And now, I mean, look what I do now, like, there's no boundaries in my life. I love it.
So after Route 66, where did and that I'm assuming got a lot of attention just because the area and what you did and all that stuff. Was it more attention? You said, was it more attention through the skate community, or was it more like where did a lot of people? Where did you get a lot of your following or focus on Route 66?
So I wanted to do Route 66 on skateboard for a few reasons, but for the main part, it was just so I could start connecting with the youth. Just start with them and give them the message, keep going, and give them some sort of inspiration and stuff, and talk to youth in different towns and everything, and go through New Mexico, like Gallup, a little town there, and kids.
Did you have this all set up as you were going, or like all these like get-togethers or whatnot, or was just you would stop in a spot and your following was growing through what you're doing, that people would show up at these spots?
Yeah, a little bit of both. It was a little bit both going on, and I just kind of let it go organically as well, as much as I could, and just cruise along and would meet someone. They would know someone up a few towns ahead or a state ahead, and just kind of like got around the community really nicely. And that's what I loved about it, just those organic conversations I was having with people, even in like truck stops and stuff,
it's crazy.
Me and Holly's get up, white compression gear and hydration pack with a skateboard. We're talking Australia. Must be going somewhere. What are you doing? Have a conversation, sit there for about 2 hours just talking to some random, about it all. So, that's what I loved about the whole thing.
It's pretty amazing.
That was 56 days. That was on
the that long, huh?
Yeah.
56 days. Did you, through the process, have you ever, and obviously you have a mission on everything you're doing, obviously to spread the word and help as many people as you can. Did you ever have, like I said, you got sponsored with your boards, but did you ever get financial sponsoring throughout this to help you through this?
I got enough to allow me to do it, but it's not like,
the life-changing,
money to do it or anything like that. Like my purpose has always been far bigger than what money can buy, for myself, to be able to share with other people and be able to help as many people as I can. But, also I needed to understand it more, so that's why I did all my events and everything for the last 8 years. So it's kind of like the last 8 years is, a lot of learning so I know, authentically know, not just, that sounds right. Like, if I talk about something, I know it 100% and I own the words, because I've been out there doing it, purposely putting myself in physical, mental, and emotional stress and trauma to work out how I get out of it. And then how can I simplify that for other people and talk to all these other people who have gone through trauma, like, washing the homeless people's feet in Philly and giving them shoes, or LGBTQ people in Harlem, and, just everyone, people in Sandy Hook Elementary School, like around that area, and Bikers Against Child Abuse up in Buffalo, and like everyone, just everyone who's around that sort of situation, just to get a feel of what it is, how's everyone still smiling? How are they keeping on going? They're in maybe the worst position that we want to be in their life, especially in Philly, it's sort of tough town, as you probably know. And,
of course.
These homeless guys are coming in. Some have been on the street for a long time. Some have been in and out, doing good life, and then back on the streets and back and forth. But, they're all still coming in with these pristine caps on and still got the smile, and, we're fairly proud, So, that was cool. And I was like, I wanted to tap in, and while I was washing their feet, just go and talk to them, tell me about it. How are you still smiling? What's going on? And I just pick up little bits and pieces of, what was important to people's lives and how they were able to keep going. And then there was some common elements with everyone who was going through different stress and trauma and all different sorts of background. And that's what I loved about it, just being able to dissect that out and just really work out what is actually important in life and how do we get past this,
What did you find as common elements?
Well, the common things is it's breath, like your breath, obviously, and just staying calm and keep moving forward, That's pretty much the common thing of it, trust in yourself, trust you got your breath, and keep moving forward, and that came from people saying, well, I've got my breath and I've got my heartbeat and I've got my 2 feet and off I go. That's all I need to get started. And that's as simple as life is.
100%.
Taking that breath and you're confident, in tune with yourself. It's just that first step forward, and everything starts with one breath. Everything starts with one step to get to wherever you want to go,
Yeah. So what was the next, what was next after Route 66?
So I thought I would come back to Australia, and I did a couple of things, and I ran a marathon, so a full marathon. I carried a mattress on my shoulder for the whole thing, like a 37-pound mattress with a down. How did that come into your head? Like, where was that? One of my mates, he's like, he comes down and he goes, I'm going to run a marathon. I said, you're running a full marathon? He goes, nah, I'm only doing a half. I said, why wouldn't you just do a full? And he goes, you do a full. And it was in like 10 days time. And I'm not a marathon runner. And I went, all right, well, I'll just run a full marathon then. And I thought, and I said, what's the most awkward thing to carry besides life? And we're like, a mattress. A mattress is the worst thing to carry. Whenever you move in house, it's so awkward. They're just the worst. All right, I'm going to run this marathon. I'll carry a mattress, and I'll put this message on the side. And that was it. I got the mattress the day before the marathon, turned up, and
was it rolled up?
Nah, it was like a full, like in a spring mattress. Like stupid me, like I get like a good quality mattress. I'm thinking, I started running, and I thought, you know what? I could have just got a phone mattress.
Did you tie? I mean, when you said, the first image in my head is, nowadays I just bought some for our rental properties. It's mattress in a box. So I thought it'd be in a box. You slap it as a backpack. So it was a full. What size mattress? Like a double, queen, the king. What size mattress?
Like, I don't know. We call them single bed mattresses.
Oh, single. So okay. So twin. And did you tie it to your back? Like, how visually did you carry it? Like, how did you carry it?
So what had happened, like my mates in upholstery, so the night before I thought, hey, let's unstitch it, and I'll put a pole through it with a hole, and I'll run with it so I've got kind of like a handle. But because I hadn't had time to train with it, I must have ran 100 yards, and my arm just blew up. And I thought,
of course, your forearms must have exploded.
Yeah, so I've just thrown it up on the shoulder, and I just ran along, and every 20 seconds, I just had this method where I would just literally just roll it over my head and then catch it on the other side and run here, then roll it over my head and sort of catch it here. It was the worst, man. Like, no one should do that. It was, out of all my events, that was the freaking worst, because I can run okay, but I'm a midfoot striker, and I've got this 37-pound weight that's flopping around like this on my shoulder. So I'm running flat-footed. So I'm pulling hammies and calves. Like, after the first 10 Ks, I'm pulling hammies and calves, just in serious pain going on, but kept on going, I didn't stop. I didn't put it down.
How messed up was your neck and your shoulders for after that for days?
Oh, it was hectic. The whole thing, and then for days afterwards,
headaches galore.
So much, it took so much out of it. It took so much strength. It was only 6 hours and 47 minutes or something, but it took me a month to recover from it. It took a lot out of me. My strength just went down more than half. Yeah, so that's crazy.
So when you showed up to the starting line, what were the organizers of the event like? What is everybody looking at you like, this guy is off the freaking cuckoo nest here? Like, what was everybody's mindset when they were looking at you? Did you call them and tell them you were going to do this, or you just showed up at the event with the mattress?
No, I just showed up with a mattress. So I was there, thousands of people going to these marathons. One of the biggest marathons in Australia, mind you, right? Thousands, 30,000, 40,000 people there.
So these are big events.
Big event, huge event. And they're you better go to the back a little bit. Friday. So it just got started. It was funny. Everyone just started yelling out, the mattress man's coming, And calls of, at least you got somewhere to lie down when you get tired, or can you move house for me after this, and all that sort of stuff, So it was pretty funny.
What was you said you put a message on the mattress. What was the message?
never lay down, never give up.
Love it. 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 So what was your next venture after the Mattress Man?
So
did you make like t-shirts saying Mattress Man after? You could have probably made some profit off that.
Nah, but like the media still, they call up, they're telling me the other day, they like call up and they go, oh yeah, we got Damien on the phone and they do an interview with him. And they go, who? The Mattress Man. Oh, the Mattress Man, I'll come and do it. And this is like, 6 years ago, I'll still get called it. But then after that, I wanted to involve the community a little bit more. So organise like pushing a pickup truck, a 3-ton pickup truck for 20 miles. And again, we start off with a few people and pushing down the main highway. And where I live on the Gold Coast, there's kind of like one main road. So we're blocking traffic and everything like along the way. And there's a couple of hills and bridges that we need to go over. But that was cool because people were like jumping out of cars. Randoms were hearing it on the radio, jumping out of cars, helping push for like a quarter mile or a mile, or some just stay to the end. They're like, oh, well, what about your car? Don't worry about the car. I want to help push you.
Are you like, do you have a videography team at this point, like recording this stuff?
On and off. I have on and off. Yeah.
Because this is like, I mean, the footage and everything you're saying eventually, like this is like, obviously you could put this together as a cool, and I don't know if you have plans or if you started, but a cool documentary, right? I mean, I'm just looking at Netflix. I'm looking at something you can sell to Netflix, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 out. One for the paddle. It's called Heart of the Sea, and that was picked up by National Geographic globally.
Oh, so very cool.
Still gets pumped out. It's on Amazon Prime, and then the other one's called Rise Above, and that's on Amazon Prime as well at the moment. So they got and pumped around, and so they're cool. The first one's better than the second one, just how it's produced and everything. But I mean, they're cool. And now, I just bits and pieces along the way. It kind of gets hard. Like I had a crew with me on the skate, and I ended up having to tell them to leave and go back to Australia before I'd finished. Like we're a couple of days out of the Mojave Desert, and I knew it was going to be tough. That was 55 degrees. That's my temperature, and so that's 125, 127 degrees. I was going to start skating across there, and they were like convinced I was going to die going across, and they were so negative. Like even like a month leading up to it, they're just like, it's impossible. You're going to die. We don't want to see you die. This is crazy. You can't do it. You're going to overheat. I'm like, you're in an RV with air conditioning. You'll be right. I'm the one that's you just drive to wherever we need to, and I'll get there.
Yeah.
And I was like convinced I was going to die, and I knew it was going to be tough. So I had to make a call, and we're making a film along the way, and I had to make the call and lose my film and just say, look, I've got to continue on this alone because you're too negative.
I was going to say that drains you out. That so drains you too.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need this. I know it's going to be tough. I don't need to be reminded constantly with this.
Yeah.
This is where I've got to look after myself because I'm paying for everything, all the crew, or making sure they're all right while I'm doing these skates and stuff every day. So, and then, the section that I got to, like crossing the Mojave, where they said I could only go, 10 kilometers a day or I'll die. I ended up skating 250 kilometers in
a day.
In 24 hours non-stop.
Wow.
180 miles I skated in that heat. And I only stopped in Barstow because there was fires in the California. It caught fire and blew up all the hills. So I had to wait and get a gas mask. And so there's footage of me.
Oh, so you went right through that hole when those wildfires are happening. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I skated through all that down at San Benito and then through into Santa Monica.
Wow,
so, yeah.
Wow.
It was good, like I didn't like that, I had to, that it ended like that with the crew, but at the same time, it made me realize, people have different morals and intentions and purpose for doing things, and not everyone's on the same journey, or that, they come on for a little while, then they go, I just, stick to my guns. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, or I'll find out, if it's tough and I have to stop, I'll find out a way how to be able to keep on going. And, I've kind of just always been like that. And that really set up a lot of things for the rest of my life, of what I was doing. And obviously most of the events that I do, everyone says is impossible to do. But, I think, well, who are you? You You don't train like I do. You haven't lived how I've lived, you know. I prepare myself and I'm going to go and do it, you know. If no one's done it before, how can you say it?
Let's talk about that a bit. Your preparation. Let's talk about your nutrition, your training. Like, give me a glimpse of like a day, a week, and a month of just Damien training, nutrition wise. Like, what do you go through? Diet, supplementation. Let's talk about that.
So for the most part, I mean, I'm gluten free, pretty much dairy free anyway. You know,
Okay.
have been for 17 and 20 years before it became fashionable, let's say. So it's just had to be like that, which has been a good thing. But for me, they're always the same. So I train mentally for a week leading up and visualize what I've got coming up and how I need to train with it. Start having a look at my diet. Well, let's not say diet. Let's, how I'm eating,
Yeah, lifestyle,
start fueling up a little bit more, start dropping away some people, a little bit less contact and everything. And everyone's in tune with me now. Most people that I know if I'm going quieter or whatever, that I've got something coming up, because I don't usually tell too many people. And then I just start training, so that moment is already, my whole training session's already mapped out for me before I even pick up a weight. I use that week just to prepare myself and get in that focus zone for it, knowing that, I'll be fairly isolated from people, and I do a strength, like build up my strength as much as I can and just eat the house down with everything to get as strong and as big as I can. Then I start moving into a cardio, then into a more functional training, and then leading on into it, depending on how much time I've got. The last sort of 4 weeks is just specific movements of what event I've got coming up. And, and then I really start I eat high protein, high carbs, low fats.
Yeah.
It seems to work best for me. And then, the night before I'm going to do something, I'll probably have some salmon and some good green veggies. I'll have some, electrolytes and just hydrate myself and fuel myself up with good proteins, good fats and everything. And get up in the morning.
Your prep time for one of these events is what, 3 months, the way you're talking, roughly 2-3 months?
3 months. Yeah. I mean, I like to have 3 months, but sometimes like the mattress thing, I had 10 days, basically, but they're all different, and it's just, I've been training most of my life and I'm in tune with how I am. And
you're in tune with your body.
With my body, and what I need and how I can transform. Like for me, a transformation, let's say, not a physical sense, but on like a performance sense, what takes most people, say, 3 to 4 months, takes me to I train a lot differently to everyone else. And
it's also your muscle memory and stuff too, as well, right? And you've been in shape for so long, your body your body's like a spring. It just shoots right back to where you want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I don't have those boundaries around. I just know what I've got to do, and I just go and get in and do it,
Did you have trainers, or you do everything on your own?
No, I just do everything on my own. I've had trainers off and on and stuff, but, I just do it on my own. Like, I'm super disciplined at it, but it's not like I'm not up at 5 a.m., like, hitting the roads and this and that. Like, I'm not like that. I train when I'm ready to train.
Yeah.
And that's in the day. Like,
you listen to your body.
Yeah, I listen to my body, but I take the pressure out of it as well.
Yeah.
I eat when I need to eat. I train when I want to train, and so I keep it sort of fun as well. I'm not like regimented. It's got to be at 7 o'clock this, 8 o'clock this. It's just kind of just how it works out, and what parts of my body I train. And then there's days that I just go, I'm tired. I'm not trained. Don't need to train today. It's cool. I'll pick it up tomorrow. So I take all that pressure off me, and I found it so much better for me, and even like going into my last event, the climb, that was 3 months prep for it, but I completely changed everything. So now I'm on this 22-minute thing, and I've always sort of trained that and thought that, because even if you're in a gym for 45 minutes or an hour, you're really only doing 22 minutes of work. You're sitting around, you're having your rest period, you're on your phone, you're having a chat to a mate. So you're kind of only working for 22 minutes. So for me, I'm fairly time poor as well.
Yeah, me too.
So,
yeah.
And I want to recover. So why would I just sit around, hang around, or train for an hour when I'm just tapering off after that 22 minutes anyway? So I look at it, I go hard for 22 minutes, Then I fuel up, I have my rest, and then a few hours later, I'm ready to go again to give it another 22 minutes as hard as I can.
Interesting.
And then I'm ready to go again. So I'm still getting my hour in, but I'm getting three lots in that hour of 100% 3 times a day, rather than
interesting
and tapering off, or trying to pace myself knowing I'm going to be in the gym for an hour. You know, so I just work it that way, and it's less taxing on my body. I feel freaking incredible for it. Like I'm faster now than I was 5 years ago, you know, and stronger and more agile and everything than I was, just because I've just changed how I train, you know, and I'll have that recovery. And like I said, you know, I'm super in tune with, you know, my body and my mind and everything, and I just take that pressure off. I know what I need to do. And I'll get in and do the work, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, and especially, I mean, at our age, recovery, rest, and sleep are just as important as pushing yourself in the gym. You need to have that recovery. You need that. Your body needs the recovery, right? I mean, a lot of guys are just go, and they're burning out. If anything, they're just burning muscle as fuel. They're doing a lot of negative to their body instead of the positive, right? So, like, I mean, obviously, you're at a different level, but I mean, I work out pretty intensely for like 6 days a week, but my workouts, just like you, they're not 3 days a week, 3 times a day, but they run between the 30 and 40 minutes, and they're just circuiting, they're high intensity. So I get in there, get my stuff done, and leave. And I put earbuds on. I don't even usually talk to nobody because I don't like talking. Just get to the gym, do your stuff, and get out. And being ultra focused on that 30 or 40 minutes, because it's just so valid. Time is so valid, right? So yeah, I love that you do that. Like you said, the mattress, what was your next step from there? What did you do after that?
So I did the car push, and then I rode.
Yeah, your car push. Yeah. And from there?
For a long time. And then I was training up for the Commonwealth Games. So I wanted to go in the 5,000 meter race in the Commonwealth Games, which was here on the Gold Coast. That was 2018. It was here. So I thought, you know, this was after the mattress marathon thing. I thought, look, you know, I'll set myself this challenge. And again, you know, man, I had death threats. I had coaches and trainers and people who haven't been able to qualify for the Olympics and all that sort of stuff, like messaging me hardcore saying, how dare you say that you can qualify for a race? You know, what was I then? I was like 44 or something then. You know, you're 44. You know, you're 6'3", you're 100 kilos, so 210 pounds. I said,
you're not built for a 5,000.
You're not built for 5,000 at all. Like, how dare you say you can do that? I'm like, well, we'll just see, you know.
Doesn't that add fuel to the fire?
I just kind of laugh, and again, I just, well, that's you. I don't know. How do we know unless I do it?
Yeah.
Right? So again, you know, I just train, and you know, I try and be different than everyone. And, you know, it was like I had 8 months to get up to a 13:35 qualifying time was. Yeah. And 4 months later, I ran a 13:35 qualifying time for it. So
how did you drop some weight? Like, how did you change? Did you change anything physically? No, you didn't, huh? Really. And how did your knees handle it?
They were great. Like, I was
seriously, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, like I just.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot, because you are, like I said, I'm 6'2", like 195, so like roughly little under you weight wise. That's a lot of wear and tear running that long on those knees weight wise. Because you think of a 5,000, you're looking at 100. I'm talking pounds, so you're looking at probably like a 50, 60 kilo guy, right? That usually runs that.
Yeah, a little whippet.
Yeah. So you were fine with that, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, like I had a running coach for that one. It came in, she wasn't really a coach, but she'd been in the Olympics, and she gave me some little tips and stuff. You know, I was like, you know, I'm not just going to do this alone. Like, tell me, you know, some tips. I'll go and do all the work, but just give me a little hand. And she's like, oh, 5,000, you know, it's rough. You know, they're hip and shoulder and everyone each, and they're chatting and they're like, they're not going to be able to do that to you because they're going to try. I thought that's cool. But for me as well, like, I've always been quite fast, like on a short distance, like a 5K, 10K. I've been quite fast, and really, I got quick on a 10 kilometer because I just didn't like running, but I knew I wanted to do it. So I ran for distance. So I just thought, all right, well, if I run it quicker, then it's over and done with quicker. And it just made sense to me, and it made me run faster.
Yeah.
I don't like doing this, so let's just run as fast as I can and get it fucking over and done with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it went, you know. My legs just stride out. Like most people take those little steps, you know, but my legs stride out. And that's how I train. They're like, you can't run like a short distance, middle distance, long distance like that. I'm like, but if I train like that, then I can, you know. So I'm taking.
It's so crazy how everybody mentally puts restrictions on what people in the past have done. They don't have that mindset of just, fuck, it's crazy.
Yeah, of change. Change. And looking at, and like we were talking about at the start, you know, it's just a different perception of what it is. Look at Usain Bolt. They're like, no, you're too big. You can't. Look at him. Yeah. Look what he's done. You know, look at Danny Way, airing the Great Wall of China on a freaking skateboard. You know, like... How many people would have said, you can't do that, mate? No one's going to let you do that in China. Oh, yeah, I'll just go and do it, you know. Of all places as well, you know, he's just, that's cool. That'd be something I want to do, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of what happened.
So you qualified, and did you actually compete?
Nah, so what happened, I was running a wellness retreat, like a hotel at the time. Yeah. The guy who owned it, he was going bankrupt at the time because bad investments in everything else. So I had to make this decision. He's like, oh man, I need your help with this. So I had to make a decision either to help him get out of going bankrupt and help him with the hotel, or compete for Commonwealth Games for my country. And I chose him, you know, chose to help him out instead. So for me, it was like, you know, it's a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, you know, it wasn't quite my goal to compete in the Commonwealth Games. I set myself a goal to run qualifying time, and I ran the qualifying time, you know. So I did what I set out to do, and I got to carry like the baton and all that sort of stuff, you know. So that was cool, you know. And then, from there, I just after like leaving the hotel, I started traveling overseas, and then my next big event. Like I rode a motorcycle across the US and all that sort of stuff, talking to people. And then my next real big event was in Memphis last year, really. And someone said to me, we're writing like a TV series, and one of the producers said, hey, look, you know, if you could do anything crazy, anything at all, no restrictions, what would it be? And I thought, oh, shit. I remember being a kid going in a hot air balloon and looking up thinking, how cool would it be? I was
going to bring that up right now. So that was something, so you're obviously reached out by, as you said, a TV producer?
Yeah.
Did you guys, before you get into the story, did you actually like sign a deal and work something out before you ventured into this?
No, like I kind of brought them on for this. It was just going to be an isolated thing, you know. So,
have you ever thought of reaching out to like and you might have, but have you ever thought of reaching out to Red Bull or something like that for some of these events?
I don't fit in Red Bull's box. You know, like
jumping off a hot air balloon, that's Red Bull's box, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But Red Bull, at least in Australia, like Red Bull in the US is changing. They got the Legends division now, so the older crew is still doing cool stuff. But in Australia, it's very like we're very behind with that. So unless you do one sport, you know, they don't want to know about it. But I go from all these.
Red Bull sponsored. I mean, I'm trying to think of just I can't remember his name. His name is Armstrong, the guy that went to like outer space and jumped off. And I mean, they've sponsored some, I think they even, was it Red Bull did the David Blaine with the red balloons? He kind of floated up in the air. Did you hear that? Yeah. I think it was Red Bull that sponsored that. They've sponsored a lot of just like jumping off in hot air balloon. They do a lot of that stuff, right? And they put a lot of money behind it.
Yeah, in the US, just not here in Australia. Yeah. You know, in Australia, unless you're just a skateboarder, just a BMX rider, just a surfer. Yeah. They're kind of like, we don't know where you're going to fit in this, you know? Yeah. It's a bit different now. Like different conversations are starting to happen now because I've done so many and I keep on doing them as well, you know? Yeah. With high extreme things. But, I mean, so the balloon thing came about and, you know, it's for a cause again. And I just thought, hey, look, it'd be cool to do this and just jump off the top of this balloon, hot air balloon, you know? But so I thought, oh shit, I better learn. If I'm going to jump off, I better learn to skydive because I'd never skydived before then either. So I'm like, so I picked this event even before I can do half of it, So out to Arizona, I went to Skydive Arizona and got my license, my A license and my B license to
how long of a process was that? 3-4 weeks, I'm assuming?
Yeah, like I was there for a couple of weeks and then I went back to Memphis for a little bit and then went back out there for another couple of weeks and finished up. But I mean, that was an interesting process as well, jumping out of the plane for the first time and just like, my mind playing tricks with me, thinking I was panicking just because I was up at, 14.
No, you probably were panicking. I'm scared of heights. So I don't know. That's one thing I'm pretty adventurous, but that's one thing I don't think I'll ever do. And I've had so many friends ask me to do it with them. And it's like, I don't find the need to jump out of a plane. I like my life right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about it, like it's just, I was talking to someone today about it and they're like, I'm like, I'm not a hellman or a daredevil or an adrenaline junkie. And they're like, I think jumping out of a plane would be a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I was like, not really. I just like a different experience in life, like we walk around on the ground all day.
What was your first experience when you did it? Like, what was your first feelings when you landed? Like, how did you feel? Or in your air? Like, what was running through your mind the first time you did it?
The first one was hectic. So they like you to do like a tandem jump the day before you do it. So you get used to being strapped in the air, the heightened sensors and everything going on, But I hadn't, I had done a tandem, but it was like 20 years beforehand, right?
Okay.
So this is like, I first jumped solo. There's like a guy on either side.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mind was playing tricks on me because we got up to 14,000. I'm shallow breathing, I'm sweating, I'm thinking, fuck, what's going on? Like I've gone into panic and I was like, holy shit. And then all this like big rush of things, like all the noise from the plane and the air. And I was like, holy shit. And dude's like, you're right, I'm out. And I'm just like, I've flung the first guy off and with the other guy, he's just hanging on for dear life to me. And we're having this like James Bond jiu-jitsu fight in the air. It was like, I was out of control, like this cat just flipping everywhere, just thinking. And the whole time I'm laughing at myself thinking, I don't think I should be going down this way. I eventually like calmed myself down and was able to pull my chute. Like, so it was quite freaky, but it took like a couple of times and I come back down. I was like, I was thinking, why am I panicking? This should be fun for me. I do crazy shit. It should be fun. And I realized, it's the altitudes playing with me, but my mind has taken me back to a time in my life. My subconscious has taken me back to times I'd panicked, like my body had that reaction, but I'd been in a panic. I'm like, it's freaking just the high altitude. That's why I'm sweating because I'm trying to get oxygen. I'm shallow breathing and it's heavy. Yeah. And I was like, once I thought that, the next, this is sweet. I'm cruising here. And then another big point was I kept thinking where I'm falling to, like, where's the drop zone? Where am I falling to? But changing that mindset to instead of where am I falling to, this is me flying.
Yeah,
and that changed everything.
It's just so crazy how you just change perspective of something, and it just alters how your emotion, how your anxiety changes. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I love it. I love it. So, and then it was just like, I'm fucking hooked now because I'm flying through the sky. This is sick, and I'd even make noises in my helmet. I was going faster, I just love it. But and then come to the event and. And just, but on that,
how much media was around that day of the event? Because obviously now you've built a name for what you do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bit around there, like internationally for there and definitely back in Australia. I was on like all the morning shows and all that sort of stuff, and again, we've got sponsors that covered all the costs and everything for that, which was cool. But I mean, that one, it's just, that one was cool. There was a lot of shit that was going on in the mornings, camera crews, there's media, there's all this sort of stuff. There's a bit of a circus going on, and I was trying to stay focused. And then, there was like some safety ropes and everything, and that needed to be tied off. And I started on the ground with it, so the balloon's on the ground as it's blowing up, and I started, say, standing on the ground, hanging onto the top of it. And as I blew up the balloon and put the fire and heat into it, it turned up. And then I was just able to stand up on top, and then it took off.
So you're standing on the top of the balloon. You weren't actually in the crate.
No, I was on the top.
So physically, how were you holding on?
I was just standing there on a platform. So I'd made a platform.
So you made a platform. Okay. I was going to say, that's pretty unstable. Okay.
Yeah,
So you're just balancing yourself. Were you holding on?
Nah, like I had a rope, but I would just stand up there. I mean, they're quite big.
Yeah.
Heat on me, and
yeah.
You know, and then up I went. You know.
And how high did it get before you jumped?
7,500.
Nice distance.
Yeah, so it was cool, you know, and like we were trying to go a little bit higher, but the balloon overheated. But like once the balloon took off, you know, sun's rising, so we ride on sunrise, and I just sat down and just.
I was going to say that must have been gorgeous, huh?
Oh, it's incredible, like, and such a rush of like gratitude across me, you know, like knowing that, you know, someone else had jumped off a balloon about a month before me in Ukraine. He was a little bit lower, but you know, no one that I know of ever, or can't Google, has ever, you know, sat and watched the sunrise on top of a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Cruising up.
Awesome. That's pretty awesome.
You know, just the gratitude of it, like, and such in that moment. I didn't care about the circus that was on the ground or what was coming ahead of me jumping off. It was just like such in that moment, you know. And you've been an entrepreneur, you know, we're like, you'd be the same as me. We're always sort of forward moving and looking ahead, and, you know, striving for our goals. It's very rare that we're like, bang, you know, we have those moments of like, this is it, you know, nothing else at all matters around at all. No business, no nothing matters is right now, you know. And it could be short time for a long time. I got to enjoy that moment for about 15 minutes. I'm
going to jump in there. It's so crazy you're saying that. I mean, at the end of every podcast, I've been a guest on 100 plus podcasts, but I've also recorded, I think you're 180 something. And at the end of every podcast, our exit, I always say, keep moving forward. So I love that you said that, because I've been saying that for how long? And I do a lot of besides, I mean, my main company is called Kimura Work. I've been doing this for 16 years. We design, you manufacture boxing and martial art equipment. So that's what we do. But we have a portfolio of properties, vacation and commercial. And one of the vacation properties, we're actually building a beach house for the family. And I've done a lot of the work myself because I wanted to put my own 2 cents on it. And we just finished it off this weekend. And I was with my daughter's 16, and we were walking on the beach and the sun was setting. And I actually sat down, and it was one of those, is everything you're saying right now. I was just sitting there and it's like, wow. It was just one of those like 5-10 minutes of just like enjoying this moment, like being present, looking down at your feet, being present, knowing where you are, really feeling the water was breezing. It was nice. It was a cool temperature. We're still in Canada, right? So it's still springtime. And it was just one of those just like, wow, let me just take this all in moments. What you were saying that on the sunset, it was the exact same thing. It was the sunset. I was just sitting on a log, just looking at the water, the water was just right there. And just it was literally, the sky was all pink, and sun was just coming down perfectly.
Yeah, and you know, there's the moments that we cherish, and it's
100%.
It's why we push so hard, so we can have those moments as well.
Yeah,
that's awesome, you know. So and then so the balloon kept on going up, and there was a biplane that was going around, and you had like a cameraman in it filming and stuff. And then we were trying to go up a little bit higher, but the balloon guy just started saying, "You got to go. The balloon's overheating. You know, you've got to jump now." So So I started like crawling across. I got up to the edge of the envelope of the balloon and then just started running. And it was funny because I didn't know how I was going to come off. You know, I thought I'd just slide off the things. They're pretty slippery. I thought
I wasn't wondering. I was going to say, when you started running, luckily you didn't slip or fall.
Yeah, like I didn't know if I was going to flip off or whatever. But I started running down. I'm running down in the groove part of it.
Yeah.
I'm running down, and I was thinking to myself, why am I still running? Like, what's happening? And I was looking, I'm like, how can I see the guys in the basket? And I was like, I'm fucking getting off this thing. So I jumped off. But there's a photo. I've got a photo of it. And I'm running vertically like 3 stories down, like running straight down this balloon. I've got no idea how I'm running vertical. That's
like Mission Impossible Tom Cruise shit there.
Yeah, it's a hectic photo, and everyone's like, "How's that happening?" You know, that's got to be like Photoshop, but you can see the indent in my balloon, like where I'm going down. You know, but yeah, I mean, that was an incredible thing because I couldn't see the ground. Like, you know, you jump out of a plane, you have a look down, you see the drop zone, you go, "All right, I'm out." You jump out. But on top of the balloon, all I could see was balloon. So it wasn't until I was running, and then the ground just sort of appeared where here we are, you know. And then so I had a little fly, and then I had to work out where I was going to land as well, you know, in some random farm.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it was because obviously the wind's taken us to wherever it is, you know, and then off I went, landed down.
So when you landed down, there was no one there.
No, we're just in the middle of a farm. And then like the crew came.
The crew were coming after. Yeah.
Like the balloon chasers, they sort of come afterwards and stuff. And so, yeah, it was fun. It was like awesome experience, you know, and, you know, again, people are like, it's impossible. You can't do it, all that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm here, you know. So, yeah, I mean, that was cool.
Have you started planning? Have you already started planning your next venture?
Yeah, well, I just did one. I did one 2 weeks ago.
What'd you do?
Yeah, so I did one 2 weeks ago. So yeah, back here in Australia. So that one was in Memphis. So I did one here 2 weeks ago. I did it, and same thing. What I did is this time I thought I would go in the basket. So I went in the basket up to 10,000 feet, and I made this rope ladder in my lounge room here, made this rope ladder to go from the top down to the basket. And then once we got up to near 10,000, I climbed out with no parachute on and climbed up this rope ladder to, so what's that? There's 42 meters, so 130 foot or something, 130, 140
And you had no parachute on it this time?
Nah, no parachute on this time.
That's like death. That's like death wish shit happening.
So I was kind of like upside down, overhang. So overhang was like this, and then went up like that. So yeah, so I climbed out, but I'd strapped my parachute to the top of the balloon, and then climbed up, got to the top, put my parachute on, and then did a jump off again. Well, I kind of just slid off. I just like crazy slide off that one. Top of that.
So when you get to the top. How I mean, is the wind calm at that point? Like you have to really, nature has a huge part in all this, right?
Yeah. So we've had major floods and storms and everything that's been going on here lately. So, you know, and I had a full production crew with that one and helicopters and all that sort of stuff with it. And, you know, we just had the worst weather going on. And I just said, it's going to be perfect. We're going to have this perfect morning. Yeah. That's it. But the morning before, it was absolutely freezing. Like in our temperature, it was like -3 degrees on the ground. And so it'd be -17 degrees.
Yeah.
Where I need to go, right? And I was only climbing in shorts and a compression sleeveless top. So I'm thinking, shit, it's going to be cold, you know?
Yeah.
But then the next day when we did, it was kind of like 0 degrees, maybe -1 when I was getting up. But at full blue skies, not really any wind or anything, but still, you know, there was a couple of things that I couldn't train for on the ground. Like one is like, because we're in high altitude, so it's hard to breathe as well.
Yeah.
So I'd done all my breath work and everything on the ground and all that training for it. But, you know, it was obviously a little bit heavier once I got up there, and it's heavier even when you're in a plane, but when you're exerting yourself, like,
of course.
You know,
yeah.
For 7 minutes, basically, you know? So, you know, there was that. Plus we're moving at 24 kilometers an hour sideways and upwards in this ladder that's moving like this that I'd made in my lounge room. I didn't even know it was going to hold me, really. You know? So there was a few things that were going on with it. But, you know, again, like I'd prepared myself, like physically, you know, made what I thought was going to be safe. You know, I'm not an engineer, but, you know, it's my life on the line as well. So, you know, I did a pretty good job at it, I think. And, but yeah, you know, I just did the prep for it and went, but that was like, most people are used to me doing crazy things now, but that was the main one that I had the most amount of people saying, don't do it. That first climb is like, that's a death wish happening. You can't do it. And I just thought, you're not me, like I train, it's not my first rodeo. This is what I do. This is just not part of my life now.
I think, when you're talking to me, physically, I think, there's no question you could do it. The only thing in my mind is no parachute going up that ladder. Like in my head, I'll be like, put that parachute on if you're going to go up that, just because anything could happen, right? At that point, if you slip off that ladder or that ladder isn't as strong as you think your engineering skills worked, shit hits the fan, you're done at that point, right? You're free falling at that point, right? And you didn't even have a backup plan at that point, did you?
I had a rock climbing and a rope that sort of came down.
Oh, you did? Okay. So you weren't free falling it like I'm just going to jump off and start climbing. So you were at least tied down. If anything, you would be caught, right?
Maybe. I didn't test it. Well, how could I test it? The only way to test it is by falling. I didn't want to fall. So I was just like, this will do, But I've just grown this ultimate trust within myself of what I can do. I just, I live. Do you ever question in your mind, and just by you saying that, you always hear athletes or extreme athletes or anybody. Like somebody that has a pet tiger, like they start trusting in themselves so much that they don't take every single precaution. Do you, like, every single time eliminate that by just, I got to follow this procedure every single time, like not to, like, you know what I'm saying? You get too comfortable. When you get comfortable, sometimes you overlapse or overthink something, and then that's when shit hits the fan. Are you ever in your mind scared of that happening? Because you're obviously every time you're doing, you're getting a little bit more extreme. That's what it looks like. Do you in your head think that sometimes I'm getting a little too comfortable with this? No.
Okay.
Because I know I do the preparation for it, and I'll take calculated risks with it.
Yeah.
I prepare. I get hyper focus on what I'm doing and the procedures and everything that I need to do. The right training, the right procedures, and for what I created, it was like, I had backups. Like if I was, for the ladder, if the ladder was going to, shit was going to go wrong, it was going to go wrong.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's like, we're all going to fucking die at some time. I just don't think about that too much. I just think about the cool things. So people say, what happens if you go up and the rope ladder breaks and you fall down, you die? I'm like, well, I won't really know anyway if that happens. But how about when I get to the top? That's what I think about. So that's what my mind works.
Yeah.
This is like, everyone's saying it's impossible. My mind goes, all right, how do I make this happen? How do I make this successful? I'm not on a death wish or anything like that.
No.
It's just, this is just me living it. And, I'm doing the climb just thinking, why isn't everyone doing this? This is cool.
And everybody doesn't have a set of balls like you do, buddy.
I was just calm with the whole thing, just beforehand. And like I said, it was like, it was something that I couldn't really train. There were so many elements I couldn't train for. So to step out for that first time and grab that ladder and, get rocked back like from here to quickly like this, and then I had to climb this way. So not even climbing properly, my feet had to go over.
I was going to say your feet were being used. Yeah.
And climb like, sort of making the hands up and changing as I went. But I was so focused and so in tune with it that, the low air pressure and the low oxygen just didn't interfere with me at all. Like I even got halfway and I started singing this song and I was just thinking, shit, how am I so calm? Like this is, I should
awesome.
be freaking out. I kind of had a little look down and stuff, and I was just like, oh, this is cool. Just keep climbing, one rung after another, and just went on this pace and one rung after another and climb. And so I got to like the equator part of it, so where I was vertical, and I didn't want to celebrate too early, but I was just like, all right, okay, that's like
I'm in a good zone now.
that's 100 foot of me climbing out of an overhang.
That's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah. So 4.5 minutes of overhang climbing.
Yeah.
And then I could go up. And then I was like, okay, I've got it here. So then I just sort of sat there for about 5 seconds, had a little look down, and then just started my climb up again, and cruise up to the top. But then once I got to the top, I was like, obviously, all the lactic acid and everything starts kicking in, the adrenaline's coming off, I was like realizing I'm like giving out a roar, yeah, like I made it. Guys in the basket are yelling, and my mouth's all dry. It's like, because I'm straining the whole time.
Of course, yeah.
Whole body. It's not like, again, like I'm 210 pounds trying to do this. I'm not like a little wire rock climber, I'm not even a rock climber.
Yeah.
And so I got up to the top and I just wanted to get some air or something in. And because I was up the top of my weight, they need to blast the heat. So instead of having like fresh oxygen, I've got like hot propane gas just flying up in the face. I'm up there going, don't chuck up on us, I'm just like, oh, God. So, but again, I got to sit there for a little bit and just sort of chill out and just enjoy that moment as well. And I could hear the guys in the basket were like super pumped about it too. And, to be a part of that as well when the helicopter's coming around.
Oh, so this is an incredible experience, right, for everybody involved. So do you have like a little booklet and you're just writing down ideas? Like do you have almost like a bucket list of things that you still like you're looking at your next ventures kind of do? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, for me to do that last event, most people look at that as like the pinnacle in their life. If they did that event, fucking that's it.
Yeah. That's just you're just scratching the surface, huh?
Yeah, like I'm just getting started, like I had 8 years of warming up and now I'm just starting to get into it. Had a little warm up with the first jump and now I'm into it,
Okay, I'm talking to you and I feel like after this I got to go to the gym or something. I feel like I'm getting pumped up here.
Like it's I've got events that I want to do already that are already set out, I'm talking about TV series and stuff like that. I really want to get back into the ocean as well. So sort of created like another sort of series around that also. With
the ocean is so extreme because just there's so many other elements with obviously the sea life in there that you have zero control over. That's what makes it so edgy. The ocean, right? When you talk about sharks or talking about it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's big waves. There's underwater. I want to explore free diving a lot more. Did a lot in Tulum. It's incredible. It's something different. Free diving's probably one of the most confronting sports I've ever done because it's one thing to jump out of a plane, but once you've jumped out, it doesn't really matter how high that is. You're still just jumping out of the plane. It's kind of the same. But when you're free diving down, you're doing something so much more unnatural. You're holding your breath. You're underwater. Every time you go down a couple of meters,
it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and you can get that's one sport that you could get too comfortable with and realize, fuck, I've got to get back up now.
Yeah.
It's different preparation, but it's different food that you need to eat for it as well, and calming the body and everything. So I'm pretty keen on.
So something like that, you're. And just the preparation is a different form of training where. There's a surfer, a pro surfer. I think he's retired now. And I was listening to him on a podcast and I can't remember where or who he was training with. It was actually on Joe Rogan. And he was and he was talking about how he was training. Like he got to the point, I think it was up to like 6 minutes holding his breath or something crazy. And the preparation for that and how he had to train for that and stuff like that. Because as a surfer, sometimes he would go under so long which is insane. You think about that when you the average person, you hold your breath for 30 seconds, you're passing out, right? You're talking about 6 minutes or whatever it was. I might be over exaggerating, but it was a crazy number that he was able to hold his breath, right?
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said. It's just calming your heart down. It's being able to control your body. Anybody could do it. It's just training yourself to control yourself, right?
Yeah, controlling yourself. And we all have that urge. And then even like my training, everyone does it. You get that.
Yeah.
You're trying to get that air, but to normalize that that don't need to take a breath, but that's just normal. You know, it's to other people, like, as soon as that happens once, they're like, oh, fuck, breathing out. But you get to a place that you're underwater and your body's like having these little contractions, but you're like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, I'll keep going down now, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's incredible. But I love it because it's so still and so quiet.
Oh, it's just, anybody that's ever done it just says it's just one of the most incredible experiences, but it's also one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. Yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, I learned in Tulum, Mexico, in the cenotes there, and I mean, this whole just different world under the water there. It's just absolutely their diving is incredible there. Amazing, you know, all the caves and everything that you're seeing. But you know, I just love that stillness, you know, when you get down to the bottom to the ball and you just sort of sit there and just have that moment, just looking around and go, this is fucking epic. Like, like risen up again. So I want to explore that. I've always wanted to surf like an 80-foot wave. So I want to do that as well. And that kind of tie in from one to another, you know, the breath holds, as you're saying, you know, for the hold downs and everything. So, but, you know, just to have that energy of the ocean underneath you, I think would be something incredible. Like I've surf waves are probably only 10, 12 foot, nothing like that, you know. So to have that movement underneath you, I think would be. You think about that 80-foot wave. That's like that's a massive high rise. It's just crazy the power of that could crush you. Crush you, yeah. I don't know how people survive. Like it's just crazy. Crazy. Yeah. But, and the suction too, like you said, it's 80 foot. The pressure of that slamming you down, but then it just sucks you under and holds you under. Like so. I mean, some of these surfers, you hear these stories and you're just like, wow, like extreme to the max, right? Yeah, I mean that is to the max, I think, because it's moving. It's constantly moving underneath you. Yeah, you know, and the pressure, like your body cannot hold it, right? It's you're playing into Mother Nature's hand. Yeah, all sorts of stuff goes on with it. So yeah, it's definitely something I you know, I've want to explore for a long time, and you know, so that'll be the next sort of progression for me. And then I've just got some other ones. You know, I want a wingsuit and all that, so I'm working up to that. And you know, there's a lot of different events that are coming up, but you know, they'll all be on this same caliber of this last event for sure. You know, they're all going to be up there, and it's just because this is my new normal now. You know, that's yeah. I love it. Yeah. It's just, you're setting standards, right? I mean, I mean, you're obviously physically in incredible shape, but I mean, Mother Time is obviously not on your side, our side. We're roughly the same age. So you just want to keep pushing and pushing as far as you can, as long as you can, right? While I can. Yeah. I mean, in your reality, in your shape, you could, as long as you, and knock on wood, injury wise, you don't get injured. I mean, you could probably push it for a long, long time, right? I mean, it might be different levels, but it matters how, like, it just shows how a person taking care of themselves, like that, what is possible. I mean, you've spent time in the US. Like, I mean, Canada is a little better, but when you go into the US, I mean, the amount of obesity and diabetes and people not taking care of themselves. I mean, this should be something just for people to aspire. Like I'm in decent shape. I've been working out. I'm 45. I've been working out since I was 16. I love working out, and I'm listening. And I was saying, like, I feel like going to the gym and getting inspired by listening to you, right? So, I mean, that should be something for people to look at you and have. I mean, not goals like you, but I mean, have in their mind that anything is possible, and taking care of themselves should be the first step, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's why I do like a lot of what I do, because, you know, I don't ask people to go to the extremes that I go to with my sports, but if I can do that, you know, buying a pair of runners and going for a walk around the block isn't bad. No. It makes excuses out of people's lives of, you know, what's my excuse? This guy's fucking climbing up and jumping off hot air balloons or skateboarding across countries. Like, what the hell? No, I just go for a walk around the block or just get started, you know? So, I mean, that's what I love about it. You know, people have been following this journey for, you know, from the last 8 years, ever since the paddle, you know, still messaging, commenting, you know, and telling me about, you know, their little success stories. Some took it on straight away with me. Others, you know, it's
took them 5 years, and now they're just sort of getting started, because they realize, shit, this guy's he doesn't stop. He keeps on going from one to another, so, I've got to fucking get started, and they know they can't talk excuses to me as well, because I just get started, that's kind of what it's all about, really. So, look, I'm excited I just get excited about life, and I just love that, I've been able to break down so many boundaries. I'm just able to go and do these things, and and I'm grateful that my body is in such good shape still. There was like a couple of years ago where I was thinking, oh shit, like I had this like bad hip going on. I was thinking, fuck, I've probably only got a couple more years left in me. But coming back to Australia, I walk maybe 3 to 5 Ks every morning out in the sun, getting the fresh air, eating healthy again. My body's come back to feeling absolutely incredible now. Like my training session, my running time, and everything.
It's so incredible. The sun and salt water. Having these natural elements to heal you is incredible.
Yeah, and just being happy with myself, who I am. It's just
that goes a long way too. Yeah, you mentally, yeah, the
energy, my work performance, my physical performance, everything's just lifted up. Sounds like I'm like you, I'm such a high achiever in everything that I do, and I really want to push myself to get the most out of it that I can. Different businesses and different projects going all on at the same time while doing this intensive training and building productions and doing all this stuff around it. So, and that, I write books and everything, publish books and all that sort of stuff all at the same time. And people are just like, how the fuck can you do all this? I'm like, well, it's because that's what I want to do. It's not a chore. I don't get stressed out.
You don't think about it. You just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Get it done,
Same. I'm like, I run 3 corporations. I deal with 9 properties. I'm extremely present father. Like, I'm with my kids 24/7. I have 3 books. I run the podcast. I'm on a ton of events. I'm always doing something. Like I said, I started in November. I brought a beach house to Studs, and I went up there 2 days a week, and I built a whole house by myself. I learned how to build a house, and I built a whole house by myself. And we video docked it. So we're doing a before and after YouTube video on it. So we have a whole team that's putting that together now, but it's just, I don't think of it. I just do it. And I enjoy it, because the minute, if I'm even on a Saturday, jumping on the couch and chilling for 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I go stir crazy. I got to be able to pick up and do something. And it's just the way it is, right? So even yesterday, like I said, we spent the weekend at the beach house, but I was there working all weekend. I drove back for 2.5 hours. I got home and I was bored. This is yesterday. I got bored. I went out to cut the grass. I put my son's basketball net, and then we went for an hour walk. You just got to keep moving. So I love everything you're doing, man. I'm so happy we met, because this has been a great conversation. I love everything you're doing, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and it's incredible. And what you're doing as well, and you've been just inspiring so many people. Even what you just said there, with people going, I've got fucking so much going on. I'm so tired. Like, mate, you got nothing going on, really. You could load yourself up with so many more cool things in the day.
Yeah.
Like you said, you just go and do it. You don't think about, you could go, oh, I've got to do that drive, and then I've got to find a hammer, and I've got to learn how to build. But you go, nah, this is the shit that I need to do. This is the goal I want. Hey, I'm just going to go and do it.
Yeah. You find ways. You find ways to do everything. There's difference with people. There's people that find excuses and people that find ways.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out which lane you want to be into.
Yeah, and like we keep talking about, it's just that different perspective and just changing that narrative. it's the same goals, you're still going on doing the same things, but it's just how you look at it.
Yeah.
It's how people look at things are a little bit different, So, and knowing that you've got to do the work.
Yeah.
If you want to get something done, you got to freaking do it yourself.
Yeah. Okay, buddy, this has been awesome. I think we've been an hour and a half. We probably could go on forever. I'm gonna want to have you back, because I'm sure there's a ton of things you're going to be doing in the near future. So I'm going to be watching you closely, keep in contact with you, and help promote everything you're doing. And as you're doing events, we can have you on and help it promote it as well. And if you're ever in Canada, Toronto, Canada, I'd love to hook up and meet up with you and all that stuff. Where can your audience find you? Where can your audience get to follow you and all that stuff like that?
So usually just on my Instagram, just Damien Ryder. Go on there. I reply to everyone. Sometimes a little bit slow, but I reply to everyone there myself. It's not someone else doing it, so I give everyone respect. And you can chat about whatever it is. Check out my films, Heart of the Sea. I'm
gonna check them out. I'm gonna actually check them out. I didn't even know you had both of them out, so I'm gonna check them out on Amazon Prime. And I'll promote all these things. I'll put on our show notes and help push and promote for you as well. And I'll put all the links to your books and all that stuff like that.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Incredible.
This has been awesome, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, my man. Ow.